Gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you all back and we'll say good morning to you all wherever you are in Europe or the Central and Eastern Europe. We are back at the second next Sport Europe and CEE events. We hope you've enjoyed our first two sessions this morning, hosted by the wonderful Cecilia Lagos. Delighted to see her again. And we can promise that there is plenty more to come today. So for the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to talk about monetization and distribution strategies from leagues and federations. Now, it's a subject that I know many of you out there are really interested in. So feel free to pose your questions and I'll put them to our very distinguished panel. And who better to start with on this distinguished panel than Małgorzata Bokowska, who is hugely experienced in the area of media rights and is currently working with Poland's Ekstraklasa in soccer. Małgorzata, it's lovely to have you back. How would you describe the current state of the Ekstraklasa output? How much is OTT and how much is sort of old-fashioned TV?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Phil, and thanks for the lovely introduction. Definitely the Polish Ekstraklasa are very much focused on the digital development of the league's properties and the league's content. So, as you know, we have our own OTT service in the market for the past 2 years, and now we're preparing to actually launch stage number 2 and have it remodeled to cater for the users' needs even more. So we're going to take it to the next level. We have just signed up with Red Bee, and as of July later this year, we will be launching the new service across Android platforms, across iOS platforms, including smart TVs, and of course the desktop service. The service is targeting non-Polish audiences living across the entire world, but of course we're also focusing on attracting foreign language speakers. The OTT, which is called Ekstraklasa TV, actually offers live matches from live match coverage from all of the matches played during the season with Polish language commentary. So this goes to prove that we are actually focusing on the Polish diaspora. And we're making sure that people can actually find that service. That's why we are cooperating with Google, trying to make sure that that our content is visible across all sorts of search engines, both on YouTube and Google. We focus on state-of-the-art production and attractive sales models and price points. And we also make sure that there's some free content available so as to attract new audiences and not have them pay immediately. We want them to be able to familiarize themselves with what we have to offer before they actually subscribe.
This is why you're always top of my search results when it comes to talking about this subject, because you guys have gone through an awful lot with English commentators and go back to Polish commentators. We'll park that there. We're going to get back to it. But also working in the soccer sphere and with us today is Leander Mombaliu, who is heavily involved in negotiating a record-breaking 5 years. What was it that made that deal so big and so special for you guys in Belgian soccer?
Yes, thank you, Philip. Thank you for having me. We started a new era for the Belgian Pro League because we're coming from a decade of non-exclusive distribution throughout the telcos in Belgium. And in the beginning of this season, we started a 5-year cycle with 11 Sports. Of course, it's completely new for us because it's an exclusive deal for 5 years on a fully dedicated Pro League 11 channel, which means not only our first competition, the Jupiler Pro League, but also second division, our Crocky Cup, the Cup of the Belgian Cup, and even women's football, which is of course was very important for us to be able to push that through to the fans. And it's a fully dedicated channel. It's being distributed in carrier deals through the different telcos, but it also has a standalone OTT offering. So it really enables us to focus on the product together with 11 Sports. We have one partner to discuss how we can invest in our product, and it's proven to be. I mean, we're about halfway in the first season, and it's been really exciting overall.
It's a fascinating deal because it really is, the epitome of the modern deal in terms of what you're doing with highlights, with near live stuff as well. So we will all get back to all that. But we're going to move from one global sport to another now because we have Frank Linders with us, who is Director General of FIBA Media and Marketing Services, one of the OGs of rights management in Europe, right? Because he was around when the UEFA Champions League was launched back in the early 1990s. Frank, you're now working with basketball, another global sport. Could you just, with all the experience you have, what's the biggest change you've seen in how sports are presented to fans compared to when you started with the Champions League and today?
Well, first of all, good morning, Phil. Thanks for the introduction. Also, thanks for giving basketball a place in this panel and in your background. It's much appreciated. I think that, of course, over the years we have seen an incredible shift. I mean, having said that, still, I would say licensing of broadcast rights to broadcast platforms or operators is still also for FIBA the core business and the main way to get to an audience. I mean, of course, in the very early days of Champions League, let's say that was more free-to-air television. Then you saw the growth of the pay TV platforms. You have seen the different OTT operators in the latter part of the decade, basically. But it is correct that, particularly also here in FIBA, already in the early days, we have put an enormous amount of effort on the digital platforms. So the YouTubes, the Facebooks, and in the Chinese ecosystem with Weibo, WeChat, and so on. And we did it because that was a very cost-effective way also for a federation like FIBA to, get a lot of eyeballs and make effective fans around the globe. Quite recently we did, you may have seen that, a deal as the first international federation with Twitch, which we consider very interesting in that regard. And also in terms of, let's say, a direct to consumer offering, what has become, let's say, more the buzzword OTT. Also there, FIBA already has more than 10 years live basketball.tv platform, which serves a purpose in the distribution mix, English language subscription channel. And like the colleagues on the panel, we are, of course, very actively reviewing what we do there and how we can be ready for the future to reach the community, but also, and that's, I think, the name of the panel is to monetize it, because specifically with all these digital platforms, it's great to get, to win awards and to, break new records of viewership, but monetizing is not always easy.
Yeah, it's what the Americans call the $64,000 question. And the man who's going to help us tie that question together is Nick Cicero, who's Vice President of Strategy at Conviva. Now, Nick has been at the forefront of numerous industry firsts through the years, including creating the first enterprise analytics solution for Snapchat, Instagram Stories, and Facebook Live. And he's also worked with some of the world's largest brands and publishers like ABC News, Turner, Viacom, NASCAR, Red Bull, Universal Music Group, TED, you name it, he's been there, right? Now, to tie everything together that our previous contributors have said, Nick, a lot of this comes down to data. It's knowing who's watching and what they want and being able to package things and sell it to them or to advertisers. How does Conviva do that? What can you do for federations and for clubs around the world in order to help them monetize things?
Yeah, sure. And I guess I'd rather be the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, as opposed to the $64,000 question if we're going for our obscure TV references.
TV quiz show references.
But no, well, thank you very much, Phil. So what Conviva does is we work with leagues, as you mentioned, like the National Football League, UEFA, Major League Baseball, and really helping measure every social platform that they distribute to. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, but all of their own streaming platforms as well. So their own products, their own connected TV devices. And I think we're going to touch on this a little bit more, but what we're able to do is really help them along what we would look at as the 3 key stages, right? So audience development, being able to understand and grow your audience, both on social platforms as well as on your streaming channels. the fan and content engagement, right? So the series that we're putting out across Facebook, YouTube, and maybe our own platforms, being able to measure the performance of those video series across multiple channels. And then the third piece obviously is monetization. So for a lot of our customers, they're either using our platform to help